Good afternoon. Welcome to Midcap Radar. I'm Sonal Bhutra. With me, as always, is Vivek Iyer. Well, steady as it goes. We have just been at those levels when we started the trading session as well. 124 points lower there. Bank Nifty is lower, but it is slightly outperforming the benchmarks. And the real outperformance in the mid-caps and small caps, they have made a comeback.
That's right. Mid-cap and small-cap have built onto the gains. The Nifty bank has spared some of the losses that it saw earlier during the day. So a bit of a comeback and some good going as far as the bulls are concerned. We have quite a lot lined up on the show for you today. Let's start off with the top headlines. Heavyweights trade soft in sluggish trade, but mid-caps clock some gains. Realty stocks eke out gains, but IT, metals along with oil and gas drag.
Dixon Tech shares surge over 4% after the company enters into binding term sheet for a proposed joint venture to undertake OEM business of electronic devices, including smartphones.
Vocard surges after the successful use of the drug Xenic that was used to treat a cancer patient in the USA. Stock surges over 8%.
Max Financial surges after Jefferies issues a buy call with a target of 1660 rupees a share. Says the refreshed identity post-partnership with Axis could enhance brand recall, especially in Tier 2 and 3 markets.
Afcon's infra gains after securing a letter of award from MP Metro Rail for an engineering, procurement and construction project worth over 1,000 crore rupees. The stock is up over 3.5%.
All right, those are the top headlines. As Vivek pointed out earlier, mid-caps have added on to the gains that we have been seeing earlier. 345 points higher on the mid-cap index. The small-cap index is up around 0.3%. So far, small caps have been outperforming the mid-caps, but today it is slightly different, but nothing. Oh, actually, it's 0.6%. So it is outperforming the mid-caps as we speak. The Nifty bank has pared down some of the losses that we've been talking about. So 45 points lower there, and a lot of moving parts in the broader markets as well. So we'll keep discussing that through the course of the show. But so far, some recovery of Nifty bank. Let's see whether that culminates or transfers into the Nifty recovering towards the end of the trading session as well.
We still have around 2 hours to go, so it'll be interesting to see whether the bulls can take the markets back into green territory. Well, one particular space that we can look at, and I'm sure Hormaz will have a whole host of stocks from the realty basket on his radar today. The entire real estate pack today is doing quite well. In fact, the Nifty Realty Index is one that's doing quite well. But we'll move on to Hormaz. He's standing by the wall. This is our special segment, Midcap Movers. Hormaz will take us through the midcaps that are moving around in the session.
Well, portfolios are doing well, and that is what is more important for the street participants to hear, right? Even though the benchmark indices are slightly quiet, but plenty of movers, as always, in the broader markets. And we'll start off with the gainers in today's trading session. And Sundaram Finance is one of them, 5.5% higher, a new day, new development, and a new record high for Dixon Technologies, crossing the 1 lakh crore market cap last week itself. So a new high there as well. 5-star Business Finance, Keynes Tech, all of them doing well in today's trading session. As Vivek just mentioned, real estate is a sector that is surging in today's session. Puravankara is up in a 10% circuit. Oberoi Realty, after an upgrade from Avendus Sparks, is up 7%. Prestige Estates, Macrotech, all of them having a good day, and all constituents of the real estate sector trading with gains in today's session. A lot of the stocks are reacting to news flow developments. And Vocard, after the drug launch, was up 8%. Some positive news coming there. Glenmark as well, after a drug approval, 2.5% higher. Vedanta at the lowest point of the day, ahead of the board meeting for its 4th interim dividend. Stocks that are doing well on the back of strong volumes, and they'll come up on your screen. You can see Vocard, and then you can see some of the stocks that are doing well on the back of volumes. And there are plenty of other names in the list as well. And lastly, some of the stocks that are not doing well in today's trading session. Some of the underperformers, an Angel One, Vijaya Diagnostics, HPCL, Nalco, all of them down to the lowest point of the day as we speak, and they are trading with losses of anywhere between 3 to 4%. Back to you guys.
All right. Thank you so much, Hormaz, for joining us as always. So those are some movers in the broader markets. It's a good time to welcome Shilpa Raut from Prabhudas Leeladhar for a technical check on the market. Shilpa, good afternoon. Thank you for joining in. Do you think we'll see some recovery in the benchmark indices as well, as we've seen in Bank Nifty, and the addition of gains on the mid-caps?
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for having me on the show. Nifty is likely, to move sideways for a few sessions more, because 24,800 is definitely acting as a very strong resistance. So until and unless we move past that and sustain or give a close above that, the move towards 25,000 to 25,300 becomes debatable. So Nifty might be a little under pressure, but yes, Bank Nifty definitely is looking much, much better. You have a good support, positional support at around 52,500, and from here 54,500 to 55,000 definitely is looking quite possible in near term.
Okay. Shilpa, what are your individual picks for the day?
I have two buys. The first one would be, of course, from the realty sector. Prestige. Prestige is looking very strong. If you look at the option chain, there's a lot of support at around 1800 zones. So with a stop loss of 1780 from here, one can stay long in Prestige and look for targets of 1930 to 1950. The other one would be a buy in Paytm. Paytm also has given a breakout now, sustaining above 1000. Definitely adds a lot of conviction for the stock to move towards 1030 to 1050. So stop loss of 980 here should work fine, and look for targets of 1050 from here.
All right. Okay, Shilpa, thank you so much. So there's a sharp recovery in Paytm stock as well. It's up around 1.5% as we speak. It's time to slip into a break. When we come back, we'll get you more on the market, stock-specific action, and a lot more. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to Midcap Radar. Well, Hormal just told us about some of the real estate stocks that are doing quite well. In fact, the entire realty index is doing very well. Oberoi Realty, one of the top gainers. Along with that, one particular stock in an NBFC that does quite a bit of lending to the realty pack, that is Hutco, a recent addition into the F&O space. Now, that particular stock, Hutco, is up almost 4.5% in the session. The other stock that's buzzing and doing very well on the back of news flow is actually Dixon Technologies. The stock started the day in the green and it's actually built onto its gains quite significantly. The stock that is valued over 18,000 rupees is up almost 5% in the session today, almost 1,000 rupee up move as far as Dixon Tech is concerned. But moving on to the pharma space, Aurobindo Pharma is buzzing today after its subsidiary received a nod from European agency over a drug. Winnie joins us with more details.
Afternoon. So yes, Aurobindo Pharma's arm, that is CuraTech, has received a European medical agency's nod, and this is for a biosimilar drug. Now, this drug is called Zephyr, and this is a big drug coming in for the company from the biosimilar side. Why? Because company has been focusing a lot more on the biosimilar investment in the last few years. Now, Goldman Sachs in a report, they highlighted that this is a positive development because first it gives an evidence that the company's ability is there to actually start monetizing the investments they made in biosimilar drugs. Also, do not forget, the company had made an investment of around $400 million over the last couple of years for these biosimilar projects. Company also has highlighted that they have two more products, which are also biosimilar products under the review with the European Medical Agency. So more drugs could be expected on a positive side coming in for the company. As of now, this positive opinion that they've received from the CHMP on this drug surely is keeping the stock a buzz, giving a boost to the biosimilar side, and that is why a positive up move that we're seeing today. Stock holding on to gains of almost 3% and at the day's highest point as of now.
Oh yes, it is. And pharma space generally is in focus as well, right? So if we look at the markets as well right now, thank you, Winnie, by the way, for joining us with all those details. There was a wee bit of recovery that we saw. The Bank Nifty briefly got into the green, so it is absolutely flat now with some negative bias. But in the Nifty pack, we do have recovery coming in on BPCL. There's Dr. Reddy's as well. When he was talking about Aurobindo Pharma being in focus, we have Walkard, which has been buzzing in trade as well. So we have Dr. Reddy's, which is at the day's high. This Power Grid, which has seen a recovery from the lows as well. Kotak Mahindra Bank. So some of these banking names are in focus. HDFC Life is the other one. We do have Apollo Hospitals as well. ICICI Bank and HDFC Bank are the other two names on our radar. Let's talk about the action in the primary space, because that continues to be very strong. In fact, DAM Capital's 840 crore rupee IPO opens for subscription on December 19th and ends on December 23rd. The company has set a price band of 269 to 283 for the IPO. My colleague Reema caught up with Dharmesh Mehta, the MD of the company, to discuss about the IPO, the company and its growth targets going forward. Listen in.
Well, firstly, I'm not comparable to the other players because they have NBFC, other financial services business in their segment. We don't have that. And the reason to IPO is you can attract talent and also gives a lot of credibility to the platform. And once that happens, it's easier to win more mandates and transparency is there. And the investors who invest early on can get the benefit of the growth story if we are able to achieve what we are planning today.
Okay. So what are in the pathway to growth? What is the plan towards entering into wealth management, asset management? Because right now your focus is more on merchant banking and broking.
We will eventually go into AIF and asset management and also into retail broking as and when. So there are certain plans which are already there, and I believe we're just setting up this entire platform, which touchwood has now been settled and hopefully will grow much more. And then we'll start looking to expand the other businesses.
So have you started work towards asset management, AIF or retail broking, or not yet?
Not yet. I think so it's in the works as we speak, and hopefully soon we should do that.
You've also indicated in the RHP that to enable cross-border transaction and expand your global reach, you are looking to explore a strategic partnership with a global merchant bank. Is this going to be a significant revenue driver?
It will be, because the kind of platform we have built today and the kind of clients we have today, all of them or a large part of them will be acquiring assets globally. And having a strategic tie-up globally will help acquire, especially the mergers and advisory piece. So that can be large transaction happening abroad. So a strategic tie-up definitely will help in the future. It's not that we won't do well without that. It is just an additional advantage which we'll have as and when it happens.
And is there a timeline to this?
No, there's no timeline.
So
We're not in a rush.
You're not in a rush. So there are three potential growth drivers from here on, new areas that you're looking into. One of this is global partnership, second is retail broking, and the third one is asset management / AIF / wealth.
That's correct.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
So when we look at retail broking, what is the approach that you will take? Would you look to build it organically? Would you look to acquire a company? Would it be a Zerodha type entity? What is the thought process?
The thought process is very simple. We won't be into cash burn businesses, so it won't be throwing cash and trying to acquire business. If it comes in
So
the
no
traditional
discount broking?
No discount broking, and we'll try to build it the traditional way. And as I said, the balance sheet of DAM Capital won't be used to burn money. So whatever makes business sense, we'll do it. And we are in no rush. We'll build those platforms over a period of time.
And would you be open to an acquisition? Like, for instance, Mireille acquired Sharekhan?
We'll be open to acquisitions, like something how we acquired IDFC. If it comes at a good price, we're always open to it.
Okay. And what's the cash in the books right now?
As we speak, in the last March, we are roughly around 150 crores of cash. Hence, there is no requirement of capital, so we are not doing any primary. It's purely OFS to come to get listed. As of today, there's no plans to raise any primary.
So we have your revenues till September, Dharmesh. But from 1st of October, SEBI introduced a new circular which enhanced the regulatory measures. So there was rationalization of weekly, contract expiry, etc. Have you seen a drop in volumes?
Well, not so far. And as we said, we are more into institutional broking, so that's not impacted much.
But from an industry point of view, because there were some estimates which said that we could see a 20-25% drop in volumes because of these measures.
Maybe in the speculative segment, but we are not in those part of segment.
So since your revenues are linked to the economy, the financial health, the capital markets, India, and, what's the pipeline looking like from here on?
I think so. India IPO story is, and overall fundraising story is very strong. And I believe that will continue for the next few years.
So your market share is 12.1% in IPO/QIP. What is your market share in institutional broking and M&A?
Well, it's not as simple as what you can see in institution as IB, which comes in public domain. So it's always a guesstimate, and I would not like to do a guesstimate on the same.
But it will be in very low single digits, is that fair?
Yeah, it should be in low single digits.
Even for institutional broking?
That's right. And that's the growth story. That we just because institutional broking, unlike IB, takes time to grow, because there's a time period by which you actually grow institutional broking, and that's why you're seeing the growth which has come in the last few years.
You've been also the fastest growing company in your space. 38% revenue CAGR, nearly 80% PAT CAGR over the last 3 years. Apart from low base, what do you think helped you achieve that?
I think overall markets have helped us. That kind of fundraising which has happened in India, which is unheard of in the last 10 years. So that's definitely helped, and obviously acquiring market share will also help. As you can see in India, in the last 10 years, the fee pool has increased multifold, but the number of investment banks virtually who dominate this investment banking space are the same. So you just have to go and dent that space, which we have been able to, and try to gain market share.
What's interesting is the kind of commission that you make as a book running lead manager has also gone up in FY24, but on an average it's been between 1 to 2%.
That's right.
What is the average globally, and is there headroom to increase that or not really?
Well, you can't compare global investment banks to India because there's an underwriting risk which they take, which doesn't happen in India. So they're not even actually comparable, but I think overall the yields will move up. the yields which you make per transaction is definitely going to move up, and also the value of the transactions are moving up. So the size of fundraise which you were earlier looking into a few thousand crores, now Hyundai raised almost 27,000 crores. So that size has never happened in India. So I think the fee pool itself is going to move up substantially.
And one final word then on the markets. There is increasing opinion that since we've had 8-9 years, good years on the trot now, H1, at least the early part of 2025, looks to be a little more headwinded, given the monetary policy may not be as easy as it was earlier anticipated, then there is policy uncertainty. Your thoughts, at least over the next 6 months for the Indian markets?
See, when you have such a big bull run, you're going to have some consolidation happening. I think so the long-term story of India is intact. So I'm not too worried on that part. 3-6 months don't matter in the scheme of things.
But you think 3-6 months we could be in for some pain?
Not pain. I would say you will go through a consolidation phase. I wouldn't say it's going to be painful. Don't forget, we come out of a large election and plus state elections. I think so next year the focus of government will be into policies on the growth story. So you'll start hearing much more positive news, hopefully, once the budget is out. So I'll be hoping that India will go back to normal business from 2025.
Welcome back to Midcap Radar. Well, the markets, especially the broader end of the markets, continue to build onto the gains. Have a look at the Bank Nifty. The Bank Nifty, the tussle is on between the bulls and the bears. At this point of time, the bulls have managed to go ahead and take the Nifty Bank just above the flat line. Now the Nifty Bank is completely hovering around the flat line. Well, one particular stock, especially in the last half hour of trade, that's doing quite well is actually Samvardhana Motherson or Motherson Sumi. Remember last week the company did announce a couple of acquisitions, a couple of important acquisitions as far as the Japanese market was concerned. On the back of that, that particular stock saw quite a few EPS upgrades coming in from the sell-side analyst community. The other stock on the radar is United Spirits, seeing a bit of selling pressure, now down almost 1.5%. But with that, it's all the time we have on this edition of Midcap Radar. Your stocks when we return.